MusicGen, an artificial intelligence, more specifically a language model developed by Facebook, Meta, made for music generation. Basically, you input text describing the type of music that you'd like to generate, and then optionally include an audio file if you want the AI to generate a new melody based off of the one inside of your file. Then, after you're done, the AI scans its database, which is apparently comprised of over 10,000 licensed music tracks, and the libraries from Shutterstock and Pond 5. Then, after a waiting period, the AI generates a new file that it thinks best represents what you searched for. There's a few different ways to use MusicGen, one involving downloading it locally to your own computer, as well as a few online options. I'm going to choose one of the newly generated tracks that MusicGen makes for me, and then act as sort of a human interpreter. So let's see what happens. Feel free to skip to the end if you want to see my attempt at humanizing one of these generated music files, but if you want to see my journey on how I get there, then stay tuned. Okay, so here we have the most easy to use version of MusicGen. It's just a website. However, it's a little pared down. It can only generate 12 seconds of audio. I'm going to start with just text, but I'm going to try to throw it a little bit of a curveball and not go for something too easy like a Green Day song or some rap song with a synth line in it. So I don't know if it understands band names, but I'm going to try this. A mid-80s to early 90s alternative goth college rock song in the styles of REM, The Cure, The Pixies, and The Smiths. Might be too wordy, but let's give it a shot. That took about 30 seconds. Let's see what happened. First, I want to say that it's amazing that technology like this exists at all. The first few seconds of that were okay, and then it sort of lost its way towards the end. I think it's actually picking up on the band names though. But let's lose one of them. Let's lose the Smiths and just leave everything else. All right, let's try this. Not bad. Let's drop in an audio file and see how that changes things. Okay, so the audio file that I dropped in is actually something that I made in Logic. I just took the melody from a Cure song and the melody from an REM song and combined them. Both of the songs were in the same key and I could blend them in easily together. Unfortunately, I can't play it for you, but let's see how that affects this algorithm. It starts off basically plagiarized. Let's try something else. So I just added a new audio file. This one I can play for you. It's an excerpt from Für Alice, I think that's how you say it. And this is a Beethoven song, and the reason why I chose this little section is because it's a very clear melody. And it's of course not copyrighted. All right, this should be interesting. Might have been the worst one yet. Let's go over to the more complicated to use version of this. Okay, so this is the version of MusicGen that you access through their GitHub. It's not the version that you download, but as I understand it, it's close to that version or the same thing. And apparently you can get longer outputs, longer generated music. I'm gonna try this again. 80s to 90s. I'll just remove some words. So forgive me, I don't know what transformer decoder means, but the medium option model has 1.5 billion, I want to say data points. So let's try that one. I'm going to first try it with no audio file, and the duration, I'm going to do 30 seconds because longer models might lose consistency. According to myself, it's already lost consistency at 12 seconds. So let's see what happens. Okay, after we got through like this weird intro part, it actually didn't sound too bad in the middle. That's gonna be one to think about. But I don't think stretching out this time actually helps the cause. Let's put it down to 15 seconds. I'm gonna take my melody that I spliced together and submit that. I didn't bother changing any of this stuff. I read about it a little bit, but it seems fine where it is. All right, how'd that come out? Nope, terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit more on my end, and I'll be back with you when I found something that I like. Okay, so I messed around with the more complex version of MusicGen a little bit more before I went back to this simpler one and just gave it another shot in the dark, and surprisingly ended up getting a result that I can live with. All right, what I like about that is it's more upbeat than the other ones. It's got somewhat of the REM mixed in with the Cure Pixies vibe that I was looking for. But of course, what are you supposed to do with something like this? It's in mono, it's a low bit rate, it sounds terrible. You certainly can't use it for anything, right? So what can I do with it? Well, I don't know, I can try to do something like this.
Towards the deep end, you awaken. Further adrift, tomorrow waves goodbye. Remember, tonight is like a streak in the sky for a reason.
Well, that's my take on this new technology. The cool thing is that somebody else would have come up with a completely different result than I did. So I guess MusicGen and similar technologies can be viewed as sort of like a writing partner that's never going to get sick of throwing new ideas at you, or is never going to ditch you to go hang out with friends or smoke weed or something. Anyways, it's early days for technology like this, and I look forward to making more videos on the subject. If you've liked what I've made today, then please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stuff. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.